Magnus Carlsen played the band Gambit, and in this video I'm going to go over two of his most exciting games with you. Let's get right into it. Starts off with Magnus playing a5, a mistake immediately. His opponent plays d4, and Magnus gives his rook away to the bishop. So we have bishop out, and then b6, and now a3. Magnus fianchettos his bishop. His opponent develops his pieces. That creates a nice pawn structure. Puts his knight out onto a good square, and his opponent pushing his knight back to d7, and his opponent plays rook b1, attacking on this line, maybe going to push a b4 in a second. Then we have c5 by Magnus, and his opponent's knight jumps in, and we have Magnus taking. He takes back with the knight, says it's a mistake. I don't know. Magnus doesn't see why. And we have knight back to b5, and then Magnus castles. We have bishop to c3 and knight back to c7, the only move that holds on, not losing completely immediately. And Magnus is slowly but surely creating an advantage here. And we have takes back with the pawn and takes the bishop by Magnus. And his opponent's knight jumps into a nice outpost, attacking the bishop. And the bishop plays to a6, attacking the queen. Now we have the pawn forwards attacking the bishop, and we have knight takes b5. A brilliant move by Magnus Carlsen, because you can take the knight with the knight, and then bishop takes and rook takes, and you're up a piece, but it still looks better for Magnus on the computer, and I have no clue why. But we have knight takes, and bishop drops back, so that might have been the idea, saving the bishop, and then queen to the side, and queen h4 check. Now he blocks with the pawn, and Magnus drops his queen back. Now we have pawn forwards making the connect 4, and that should be a win, but they keep on playing. Now we have rook over attacking the queen. Queen drops back. Queen slides this side. Magnus does not want to trade queens because he's down on material. We have rook a1, and Magnus takes the knight. He gets his piece taken, and Magnus drops his queen back, and we have a blunder by his opponent playing queen d2. And Magnus pushes the pawn, attacking the bishop. Now we have rook a7 and b5. Now takes, and Magnus takes the rook with the bishop, takes back with the bishop. Now they have a knight for a bishop, and they both have a rook and both have a queen. And pawns here. Magnus's pawn's a little bit further, but we'll see what happens. The opponent drops his bishop back, jumps in with the knight. His opponent trades the bishop off for the knight. And now Magnus creates some pressure on the pawn here. And now we have queen d3 and g6 by Magnus Carlsen. After king f1, Magnus plays the great move queen h1. His opponent has to move his king up, and Magnus advances with the pawns. His opponent keeps on moving around with the king, which is not the best idea. Now Magnus plays a check. His opponent runs up the board. Another check with the rook, king up, and he trades off the rooks, and he takes the free pawn. Now he's going to promote this pawn. There's no way to stop it, and he gets checked a couple times until his opponent resigns, because there's no way that he can do it. And here's his next game, where Magnus does the same thing, but with white this time. He plays a4, and then he plays a rook a3. His opponent takes again. He takes back with the knight, and we have knight f6 by his opponent. And Magnus just plays his pawn forwards, defending that pawn. And he's losing pretty bad here just immediately because he sacrificed the rook. But it makes it out of his opponent's preparation, and he can just fianchetto both of his bishops, jump his knight into the middle of the board, and it looks pretty cool. His pawn's pretty far developed here. Does Magnus want to en passant? He does en passant. Sorry, I accidentally messed up the board, but we have Magnus castling. His opponent plays bishop out, and then Magnus plays queen a1. Now we have his opponent playing queen out, and Magnus plays d3. His opponent plays h5. Crazy move, attacking this side of the board near his king. So we have rook b8, attacking the bishop. Bishop moves off the square, targeting this pawn. Now we have queen developing, knight drops back, and now h4 by his opponent, attacking this pawn. Looks like an amazing move. And now we have knight dropping back, get all the pieces in the attack. Magnus tries to defend, but it does not work. And now he tries to defend a little more, but his opponent gets a free knight. Magnus takes a free pawn, drops his knight back. Queen jumps in, and he trades off the bishop for the knight. Rook goes over, pawn forwards, queen slides, attacking the rook. Rook goes check, and now we have rook drops back. His opponent trades off the rooks. We have pawn forwards attacking the bishop, and bishop drops back, attacking the queen. Now we have queen dropping back, and the pawn going forwards for Magnus. It looks like he's not in that much trouble right now, but his opponent can just trade off pieces. And now Magnus is in a little more trouble because he's down a full rook right now. And we have pawn forwards by Magnus. Now rook g2. Magnus pushes a queen forwards. He takes in, and it's looking pretty scary for Magnus here. Magnus takes back. We have rook g1 and king f2. And now rook h1 attacking the queen. And queen g4. Now pawn forwards, threatening to promote. And then we have pawn forwards by Magnus, threatening checkmate almost, but he pushes. And now we have e4 by Magnus. And now it's a forced mate in 9, but his opponent doesn't see it. Now it's forced mate in 13. Magnus plays king e2. His opponent promotes to a knight. Magnus does not take it with the bishop, instead moves his king to the side. They're both really low on time, 10 to 7 seconds. But we have his opponent playing check and check again, and Magnus resigns in this position because he is forced mate in 4, and he's just down so much material that there's no way he can win. Thanks for watching the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.